Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. I'm Mick, and today we are diving into a piece of military hardware that is currently sending shockwaves through the entire global security community. In an era where naval battlegrounds are boiling over with tension, especially around critical maritime choke points like the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden, imagine this scenario. What happens when one of the most heavily sanctioned and economically isolated countries on the planet decides to build its very first aircraft carrier? But instead of dumping tens of billions of dollars into a massive hyper-advanced warship accompanied by a fleet of escort vessels like the United States does, Iran took a radically different approach that left naval observers completely stunned. They took an ordinary, everyday commercial container ship, chopped it up in a dry dock, bolted a massive flight deck onto its side, and turned it into a bespoke drone carrier. This vessel is specifically designed to be capable of launching terrifying swarms of kamikaze drones from the middle of the ocean. This isn't the plot of a sci-fi movie or a theoretical war game. This is a very real, very physical reality happening right now with a newly commissioned vessel named the IRIS Shahid Bagheri. Today, we're going to break down exactly why this modified piece of commercial scrap metal is becoming a brand new kind of geopolitical nightmare, one that's forcing naval superpowers completely back to the drawing board. First, we need to thoroughly understand the basic concept and the sheer desperation driving this absolute madness. In modern naval warfare, everybody knows that possessing an aircraft carrier is the ultimate, undisputed symbol of global military power. It's a way to project your military reach across oceans and strike anywhere on the globe. It's essentially a heavily armed, mobile, sovereign island. The primary problem, a standard American nuclear-powered aircraft carrier costs upwards of $13 billion just to build, not to mention the insanely high-tech infrastructure, the escort fleet, and the millions of dollars required daily just to operate and maintain it. For Iran, a nation financially squeezed by decades of crippling Western sanctions, building something even remotely close to that is practically impossible. But since their strategic need to expand their naval influence and project power hasn't gone away, the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, IRGC, had to think way outside the box. They couldn't match the West ship for ship, so they opted for extreme asymmetric warfare. They acquired an old 240-meter-long cargo ship named the Peregrine and gave it a major genetic mutation, transforming it from a slow, harmless delivery vessel into a floating launchpad ready to strike targets hundreds of miles away at a moment's notice. Now, you might be asking yourself, who is actually behind this crazy modification project, and how do you even begin to turn a cargo ship into a carrier? The fascinating truth is that the original ship, the Peregrine, wasn't even built in Iran. It's actually a South Korean container ship built by the world-renowned Hyundai Heavy Industries over 2 decades ago. Just think about the sheer irony of that for a second. This ship spent its life peacefully hauling sneakers, clothing, and consumer electronics across the Pacific Ocean. But the IRGC Navy brought this outdated, rusted vessel into the ISICO shipyard, a heavily guarded, state-owned facility located dangerously close to the highly strategic Strait of Hormuz. Working around the clock under the constant watchful eyes of Western spy satellites, Iranian engineers used sheer engineering ingenuity. They literally welded massive steel cantilevers and deck extensions onto the side of a hull that was never mathematically designed to carry that kind of off-center weight. They didn't build a new ship from scratch. They performed extreme, highly risky plastic surgery on a giant cargo vessel to turn it into a weapons platform. It's a move that requires both absolute strategic audacity and extreme engineering bravery to pull off without the ship simply capsizing. The most striking and visually bizarre feature of the IRS Shahid Bagheri is undoubtedly its massive overhanging flight deck. If you look closely at the satellite imagery, you can clearly see a dark gray runway slicing diagonally off the port side of the ship, extending far out over the water. This newly fabricated deck is roughly 170 meters. They didn't choose an angled flight deck just to look cool or to blindly mimic an American Nimitz-class carrier. It was an absolute engineering necessity. The original superstructure of the container ship features a massive multi-story command bridge, or island, sitting dead center on the main deck. You obviously can't launch an aircraft through a brick wall of a bridge. Building the runway diagonally off the side was the smartest, most cost-effective workaround. It provides just enough runway length for heavy, fixed-wing drones to build up the required aerodynamic speed and take off just like conventional fighter jets. At the same time, it leaves plenty of valuable real estate on the starboard side to park support vehicles, set up anti-ship missile launchers, or even stack standard commercial shipping containers that are specifically modified to hide long-range rocket artillery in plain sight. So, is modifying a slow, lumbering cargo ship actually worth the effort? Can it even compete in the same ocean as a purpose-built high-tech warship? I've put together a basic spec sheet and a preliminary cost estimate for the IRIS Shahid Bagheri so you can see the raw numbers for yourself right here on the screen. Let's take a look at the massive, almost unbelievable return on investment they're getting out of this project. Looking at that table, I want you to pay very close attention to two specific lines, the power plant and the manpower. This ship is not running on a multi-billion-dollar nuclear reactor that requires teams of physicists to operate, nor does it use the high-end, gas-guzzling turbines used by modern Aegis destroyers. It relies completely on the original, rugged, everyday marine diesel engine from its past life as a commercial cargo ship. It tops out at a very modest 21 knots. Sure, that might seem incredibly sluggish compared to a standard US warship that can comfortably push 30+ knots to outrun a threat, but we have to remember its core mission profile. It's meant to loiter quietly in the background as a floating, decentralized drone base, not engage in high-speed, close-quarters naval pursuits. That low speed and conventional commercial engine are exactly why the maintenance overhead and fuel costs are dirt cheap. Plus, if a pump or a valve breaks, they don't need highly classified military supply chains to fix it. Spare parts for Hyundai diesel engines are readily available on the open commercial market worldwide. And then there's the most mind-blowing part of this entire equation, the crew size. This entire 240-meter ship operates with fewer than 200 people on board, and that includes the sailors driving the ship, the mechanics wrenching on the engines, and the specialized teams launching the drones. Compare that skeletal crew to a US Nimitz-class or Ford-class carrier that requires a floating city of roughly 5,000 personnel to function. Slashing the crew size to this extreme drastically reduces a military's logistical nightmares. You aren't constantly worried about sourcing tons of fresh food daily, generating thousands of gallons of fresh water, providing extensive medical care, or paying out millions in payroll. Most importantly, from a tactical standpoint, it significantly lowers the risk of mass human casualties if the ship ever takes a direct hit from a torpedo or missile. When you add up all these extreme cost-saving measures, the total price tag to acquire and completely modify this vessel comes out to roughly $95 million. The primary reason it's so astonishingly cheap is that Iran completely bypassed the absolute most expensive and time-consuming part of naval shipbuilding, fabricating the hull, the keel, and the propulsion system from scratch. Now, $95 million might sound like an astronomical amount of money to the average person, but in the highly inflated world of global defense procurement, it is literally pocket change. For $95 million, you can't even buy a single fully equipped F-35 fighter jet with its required spare parts. Meanwhile, the US spends upwards of $13 billion to construct a single Ford-class nuclear carrier. Iran, on the other hand, just bought themselves a massive ocean-going platform capable of launching devastating offshore drone strikes for a fraction of the cost. This right here is the terrifying mathematical reality of what military analysts call the poor man's aircraft carrier. It's a minimal, upfront financial investment that yields massive, disproportionate strategic returns. So what is the actual real-world strategic impact? Why do Western navies need to keep such a close, paranoid eye on this thing? The answer lies entirely in its payload. The Shahid Bagheri wasn't built to launch sophisticated, supersonic stealth fighters that drop laser-guided bombs. It is essentially a floating hornet's nest packed to the brim with Shahed series killer drones. Specifically, we're talking about the infamous Shahed 136 kamikaze drone, the exact same weapon platform that has proven incredibly destructive, adaptable, and hard to defend against in the ongoing Russia-Ukraine war. These drones are terrifyingly dirt cheap to manufacture, costing around $20,000 a pop. They sound like cheap flying lawnmowers, but their true catastrophic danger lies in swarm tactics. Picture this nightmare scenario. This converted container ship is loitering quietly off a coastline or near a major shipping lane in the dead of night. The crew pushes a button and launches 50 kamikaze drones simultaneously. These drones fly incredibly low, just above the crest of the waves, specifically to evade traditional radar detection. The enemy's billion-dollar air defense network, designed to shoot down high-altitude jets and ballistic missiles, is suddenly faced with the absolute nightmare of trying to track and intercept dozens of cheap, slow, low-flying targets swarming from every possible direction until the radar screens are completely overwhelmed with clutter. This isn't just a simple evolution of the weapons themselves, it's a total paradigm shift in how naval warfare is calculated. From a business and economic perspective, this is a textbook cost imposition strategy. Iran is intentionally forcing Western superpowers to foot an incredibly painful, unsustainable bill. They are forcing a highly advanced U.S. Nimitz-class Arleigh Burke-class destroyer to fire state-of-the-art SM-2 or SM-6 interceptor missiles, which cost anywhere from $2 to $4 million each, just to shoot down a $20,000 piece of flying fiberglass carrying a small explosive charge. The math is brutal. The more drones the U.S. Navy intercepts, the more the defending force financially bleeds out. But the most dangerous part isn't even the money. U.S. warships have a finite, non-reloadable number of vertical launch system tubes. A standard destroyer might carry around 90 missiles. If a swarm of 100 drones comes over the horizon, that ship has to fire everything it has. Once those magazines are empty, that multi-billion-dollar destroyer is effectively disarmed and becomes a sitting duck. It must withdraw from the combat zone to a friendly port to reload, completely removing it from the fight. The existence of the Shahid Bagheri flips the West's technological superiority completely upside down by using sheer, overwhelming volume and brutal cost efficiency. It's a brilliant way of exploiting the logistical loopholes in the old rules of war and creating a new rulebook where Iran, despite being outgunned, suddenly has the upper hand. Furthermore, if we look ahead to a very near future where artificial intelligence fully enters the battlefield, the moving, unstealthy target that could be easily sunk by a single submarine torpedo or a modern anti-ship cruise missile. But for Iranian military planners, that doesn't matter one bit. The true purpose of this ship isn't to go toe-to-toe in a frontline, symmetric naval brawl with an American carrier strike group. Its purpose is to create chaos and uncertainty. It acts as a fleet in being, a psychological weapon meant to apply constant, draining pressure on enemy commanders. It's a pawn used to continuously threaten the global geopolitical chessboard. It's a highly expendable wildcard built on a shoestring budget that forces global superpowers to suffer massive operational headaches, divert billion-dollar reconnaissance assets to constantly monitor it, and spend exorbitant amounts of money figuring out how successfully to counter it without triggering a wider war. This isn't just an interesting case study in disruptive innovation for Silicon Valley tech startups. It is a very real disruptive kinetic force that is fundamentally rewriting the landscape of global maritime security forever. So what do you guys think about Iran's radical tactic of turning outdated commercial cargo ships into lethal drone carriers? Do you think this is just a desperate, heavily flawed weapon from a cornered nation running out of options? Or is this the beginning of a massive new asymmetric trend that medium and small nations around the world are immediately going to copy? Let me know your thoughts and strategic takes down in the comments below. I always love reading your analysis. And if you enjoyed this deep dive analyzing the fascinating intersection of technology, defense economics, and military strategy, don't forget to hit the like button, share this video with your friends, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the next one. For today, I'm Mick, and I'll see you guys in the next video.